Hey, folks, can you hear me now? Everybody out there? Jermaine, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Rock and roll. All right, brother. Here we go. This was the show that I did earlier. I have no idea why that song played earlier because I thought they pretty much captured it on this thing when I went to restream it. I started it out with a simple prayer. Call it the Paratrooper's Prayer. I bring this prayer to you, Lord, for you alone can give what one cannot demand from oneself. Give me, Lord, what you have left over. Give me what no one else ever asked you for. I don't ask you for rest or quiet, whatever of soul or body. I don't ask you for wealth, nor for success, nor even health. That sort of thing you get asked for so much that you can't have any of it left. Give me, Lord, what you have left over. Give me what no one wants from you. I want insecurity, strife, and I want you to give me these once and for all, so that I can be sure of having them always, since I shall not always have the courage to ask you for them. Give me, Lord, what you have left over. Give me what others want nothing to do with. But give me courage too.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
So, can you hear the background noise? Like I said, I have no idea why it's doing this right now. I think what they're doing is they captured the music and not me. All right. So let me finish. But give me courage too, and strength and faith, for you alone can give what one cannot demand from oneself. That's factual. Now, the music that you heard, that was at a time on the last show that nobody heard. That was when a friend of mine knocked on the door, and it cut me off from what I was saying. That's when I was covering this stuff and you guys didn't hear me. Now, what is a blade? I'm about to explain. A blade is somebody who is special forces. The only thing special about me is my education, right? We can all laugh and joke about that. But the prayer I read to you was the Paratrooper's Prayer in England, in the UK. And this whole discussion on blades started with a post I did on Facebook. Army bosses order SAS troops to stop wearing skull badges on their uniforms. What they were talking about was Punisher badges. Now, Arminius and I and others will know that the Punisher comic thing is it's a comic. It's comical. Comes from a comic book. And they're saying, well, you can't wear that because it's intimidating, and it also, may offend the opposing forces. Wonder how that happens. Why would we even worry about that, right? Something to think about when you actually understand what is happening. So, there's an interesting thing going on when you think about things. First off, why was that even an issue? But the more interesting part was what he said. His name's Baz. I'm not going to use his last name. But he's like that's ever going to happen. Blades do whatever the fuck they want. Tier 1 cats stack bodies on an industrial level. The fucking clowns in the ivory towers really think that their concerns that the enemy forces might get offended will influence how Hereford dress. Comical. I can imagine what went down once the officials left their lines at Crittenhall. I get what he's saying. And some of you that it's by the dailymail.co.uk. Army bosses order SAS troops to stop wearing skull badges on their uniform. What they were doing was wearing a Punisher skull after they got their first kill. That's strictly what they were doing. The interesting part to me is that they got so enwrapped in it that they had to make that point. It's the same useless point that happened under George W. Bush, when he said, I think it was 2003 or 4, that the SF needed to stop wearing their muftis, their beards, because it made the U.S. Special Forces look whatever. And that was under his DOD, under Rumsfeld. Hey, Uva. How's it going, brother? So the more interesting thing to me is that went nowhere either. You think SF guys no longer wear beards? I'll tell you right now, if you think that, you're fucking wrong. Hey, sons and daughters, how you going, brother? Everything is well. So what ended up happening was absolutely nothing. And here's why. I'm going to explain blades. From the OSS times, Office of Strategic Services, to CIA, DIA, to Army SF, to SEALs, to Rangers, to MARSOC guys, to the SAS, Special Air Service, and the SBS, Special Boat Service. You got to remember, the OSS was designed, and of course it was a precursor to the CIA and the SF, but Kennedy didn't make the SF till later on in the 60s, or 50. Yeah, it was the 50. No, it was the 60s. JFK, Special Weapons. I can't remember, 60-something. Can't remember the exact date. Not going to try. Don't even care. But what blades mean, and that's why I brought this up, on their emblems, you always see a knife, or there'll be a knife somewhere, or a spear point, or a sword. That's because that's what it is. It's a thing that you can always use. If you need to cut food, if you need to use it for survival, cut wood. Also, to take a life. And when he said stack bodies on an industrial level, that's exactly what the fuck they do. It's that little thing George Orwell wrote about. You sleep quietly at night because rough men stand ready to do violence on your behalf. That's a fact. Now, The other thing, I had a conversation with a great brother of mine, Jaffe. He knows who he is. I love helping him out and working with him and promoting him. WPRPN, World Pirate Radio Podcast Network. And we have a good time on WPRPN News. It should be tonight we do it. Or I won't. Who knows? We'll see. But we try to get out in front of the issues before it happens. And he asked what a traveler was. He has his thoughts. And I respect his thoughts and opinions. But here's what a traveler is. I'll give you the definition. It is the man or woman that knows what's happening on the ground before it's going to happen. I.e., there's always rumblings. Nothing ever comes from nothing. There's always rumblings, and if you're a traveler, if you're somebody that does things, you will get a sense of it. It could be in medic warfare. It could be by trolls. It could be a myriad of things that will give you an uptick, something that you understand. It could be somebody telling you about something. And you'll be there. And a traveler is always there for historic events. And I got tuned into that. It's sort of a weird thing. And I say this all the time. It is a weird thing because I don't even completely understand it. But what I do know is when I sense it, and it's a sense. And every traveler I've met is the same way. We all end up back together. Okay? We all end up going back to these same fucking places. But it was the first Gulf War. Cold War, not so much. I honestly never felt, even though there was tense situations, I didn't feel threatened. But the first Gulf War, there was something that clicked. Like when a woman has a baby, all those little things in their mind click to become mommy. You know, they're a complete woman. This thing, I can't even explain it, but I've seen it happen in real time. And it's the same thing for a warrior, which I was. I was a military policeman. Did a couple other MOSs, but nothing special about me except my ed, like I said earlier. The interesting thing is you get your senses defined and refined. And you understand it in your brain, but you can't explain it to anybody else. So, here's what happened. You know when something's about to kick off or is going to happen. And it's because you start looking not at the specific item. You look at the entire gross item. What is being displayed in front of you? Memetically, through chatter, through all this stuff. But you do it for your own reason. If somebody asks you to look into something, you can look into it. And you go in it with no preconceived notions. You have to do it that way. There's no other way to do it. And that's where law enforcement and military intelligence fell. Is because they already have a preconceived notion. Or at least a notion that's being put on by politicos, by somebody in politics, and they want you to drive a message. Well, that's, you throw biases in, and you fuck everything up. You have to look at it very dispassionately, which I'm 50 years old, I've spent a quarter of my life in the Near East. If you don't think I've seen shit from those cultures, and there's people I love in the Near East that would turn your stomach and turn my stomach, you're wrong. Okay? It's a different culture. But I was there, and this is what happened. So, how does that affect me now? How does it affect a traveler? A traveler, it doesn't matter the vehicle that takes you to that area. What matters is your feet. And a traveler's prayer, my prayer, is two things. First one, as soon as I get up, and it even happens when I'm home. Lord, put my feet where you want them to be today. Now, the implied part of that is if I die, I'm good with it. If I survive, I'm good with it. It doesn't matter to me. Put me where I need to be is the part that's more important. When people talk, and they do talk, and they say, how do you know? You don't. And nor should you. Nobody should know anything. This is the world we live in. And you take it as it comes. And blessed be the gods and the ancestors. Don't think I don't forget about my gods and ancestors. They are as vital as my Lord Christ. I am a Christ cuck. I believe in Jesus Christ. But I also did not surrender my old gods. And my ancestors especially. Because they guide me. That is what a traveler is. We don't stay home. And if we are home, we look to keep our homes safe. When I say homes, our houses. There are many people that know who and what my house is. And we're a small house indeed. And I am a bastard. And we all know this. But our motto, since Maria Theresa, the only empress of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, our line goes back that far. We will stand. If you do not stand, one person can, will, and always makes the difference. You doubt me, and it will fail you if you doubt me. Because the only thing that matters is that you stand. Our house sigil is a raven with a gold ring in its beak. The symbology is grab the gold ring. It does not matter your life or your death. What matters is you reach further than what you're worth. So, as I stated on the mission statement, are they mutually exclusive? No, they're not. Have I met travelers that were special forces? Fuck yeah. Good dudes. Good men. Good women. If they fell, they could go back to the infantry. They could go back and do whatever job they had. But most won't. Most will not. They will never. They can't. There's an addiction. That addiction is war. That addiction is strife. The things nobody wants. the adrenaline rush, and the sense of brother and sisterhood. That's a fact. Now, so they won't go back to it. if a special forces dude says, hey man, you effed this up, you did this up, cool, he'll just go away. A traveler is different. I can list in a big, large, well, not a big, large, but a piece of paper, the dudes I know and the people I know that are SF dudes, and they're great dudes. I've only met two dudes in the SF community that I thought were really cunts, honestly. Only two. And it saddens me for those two because they were good guys, other than, they, whatever. Notice I never shout out anybody that I haven't asked, can I use your name? The interesting part to me, the more interesting part, is that travelers don't have that choice. And Jermaine said it exactly. I know we have nothing to fear. We are guided by the light and the truth. And I've known him for years. When the wall was up. That's how long. See, it's funny how nation states, capital S, not little s like in America, little states like my state of Ohio, soldiers understand each other. When I went to Iraq, I met soldiers I fought against. It took a while. It was always done with distrust. You could always tell who was a former soldier that fought against you. And yet I had the deepest relationships with those men on a soul level. When we talk about capital S states, what we're actually talking about are propaganda wars. Are wars that probably shouldn't have happened. Something to chew on. But as a traveler, it doesn't matter. I will go. I can't not go. And if I see distension, I will step into the breach. And I will remain calm, ready, and able to do what has to be done. As you should. When you stand, it doesn't mean you stand with hate. It doesn't mean you stand with guile and all these other little things that we could go into. It means you stand, you observe, and you react. Always searching for the light and the truth without fear. Because in the end, honestly, that's all you have. Now, I know you guys heard the music before. That's from Axion's Ghost. Please go to his YouTube channel, like, comment, and react. He's a great dude. I've given links in the description. Please hit up WPRPN. Also, if you can, check out Robbie Young Pelton's Dangerous Places, Extreme Knives, and also Spencer Allen Ryder's stuff, his knives that he makes. Like I said, there's a reason why we call them blades. As a sword point 9. I understand this more intimately than you will ever know. But with that being said, it's all good. I love you all. Thanks for sitting on my big orange couch. Hopefully you guys had yourself a coffee, a tea, maybe an adult libation. You had a great time. And I love my small community like you will never know, because mostly everybody on my channel I know in some way or another. And that gives me good feeling. And I'll keep doing this until I can't do it anymore. You know, this is how it is. And yes, Jermaine, the masses of people are brainwashed. They think the gods out there, they live within us. And that's true. Hi, Ivy. Nice seeing you. I'm going to shut this down, and I'm going to give the first song that I played in the beginning was Game Time. It's Game Time. And the funny part of that is if you go to his page, pacifism will remain an ideal. War will remain a fact. That's why I use that for the intro today. And the outro is Musso's Pizza. And he did it specially for my Dago Guinea spaghetti or lasagna nigger ass, because I am half Dago and half Kraut and proud of both sides. And I do not worry about what others think of me. With that being said, I'm going to close it out with love to all of you. Know who you are, find who you are, and be who you are, always. With that being said, here comes the music.
Taught me many things here. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.